Lena Voss woke mid-fall. The air was thick and wet, slapping her skin as she dropped through jungle canopy. Leaves cracked. Branches whipped her face. Then, impact. Her back hit moss-covered ground, the wind punched out of her lungs. No HUD. No helmet. No weapon. No explanation. She rolled, coughing, spitting dirt, ears ringing. The sky above was violet, cloudless, a strange absence of stars. Her fingers dug into damp soil, searching for anything familiar. "Wake up," she rasped. Her voice barely carried past the jungle hum. A shape moved, someone crawling nearby. "Rodriguez," she called. He groaned, blood on his forehead. His uniform was shredded, same as hers, no armor, no tech. Just military fatigues and instincts. "Where the hell are we?" he asked, blinking fast. Lena scanned the treeline. The jungle buzzed with alien noise, deep croaks, high whines, clicking in the distance. She stood, her spine aching. No idea. But this isn't Earth. They were supposed to be on a diplomatic vessel en route to the Scar system. Then, nothing. A flash. A scream. Black. Now this. She gathered herself fast. Survival instructor for 10 years. Jungle terrain. High humidity. Oxygen rich. Priority, regroup. Shelter. Water. Fire. "Rodriguez, check your limbs. You moving?" "Yeah," he said, wobbling upright. "I think so. Where's the rest?" She cupped her hands. "Delta team. Sound off." Distantly, here. A dozen meters away, Sergeant Nia, barefoot, limping, but alive. Then Tucker. Then Foley. 7 of them total. Scattered. Disoriented. Stripped of gear. Lena exhaled. At least it wasn't a total wipe. An hour later, they had a base, if you could call it that. Fallen logs in a circle, a pit dug for fire, sharpened sticks for defense. Lena's hands were raw from splitting vines for rope. Rodriguez sat on a log, binding his boot with plant fiber. "This isn't some training sim," he muttered. "No rescue beacon, no command uplink." "No stars either," said Foley, eyes skyward. "Where's the constellations?" Lena crouched over dry leaves and flint stones. Her fingers moved with practiced speed. Sparks flew. She didn't speak. A minute passed. Then the fire caught. A curl of smoke. The crack of flame. "Yes," Tucker breathed. "We're back in the Stone Age, and Lena just reinvented fire." Lena stood. "We make fire. We make water. We make weapons. We survive. That's what we do." Elsewhere, hundreds of kilometers above, Director Krythal of the Zarkith Empire reviewed the footage. "Primitive species number 873, Homo sapiens," said a technician. "Dropped onto Galactic 2 hours ago. Observed adaptation rate, anomalously high." The holodisplay zoomed in on the humans. 7 of them. Already gathered, armed, firelit. "Fire?" Krythal hissed. "Impossible. They had no tools." "They made them," the technician said. "From environment. They've crafted binding agents, shelters, rudimentary perimeter. They're accelerating. They're innovating, sir." Krythal narrowed his eyes. "This species was banned from entry for a reason." Back on the ground, Lena fashioned a spear from a broken branch and an obsidian-like shard. The jungle watched. Eyes blinked behind foliage. A low hiss echoed across the clearing. "Something big." "Nia," Lena whispered. "Left flank." "Rodriguez, right." "Hold." A massive creature, 6-legged and plated in bone, charged through the trees. Its jaw split in 4. The team scattered, fast. Foley was quickest, too quick. He tried to climb, slipped. Lena didn't think. She drove her makeshift spear straight into the beast's underjaw as it lunged. Crack! The shaft shattered. The beast howled, blood spraying like steam. Rodriguez and Tucker pounced, hacking it with stone shards until it stopped moving. Then silence. Heavy breathing. And the smell of something burning, their fire still alive. Nia stared at the body. We need that meat. By nightfall, they'd skinned the beast, started drying strips. The camp glowed. Foley, his arm in a sling, leaned toward the flame. They wanted us to die out here. Yeah, Lena said. But we're human. We thrive where others die. She stood, looking out into the dark, past the treeline. They dropped us in a game, she muttered, but we wrote the damn rules. She walked to the edge of the firelight and jammed a second spear into the earth. Then another. A ring of weapons, warning the jungle and whoever was watching. Let's give them a show. Far above, Krythal watched the humans circle their fire, one laughing, one sharpening a blade. He clenched his jaw. Shut it down, he said. Sir? Shut the whole game down. They've only just begun. That's the problem, Krythal snapped. They had fire before we made camp. The jungle was quieter on the third day. Too quiet. Lena crouched in the underbrush, one eye on the baited snare and the other on the treeline. Beside her, Rodriguez waited, a spear clutched tight. The carcass of yesterday's predator had been dragged into a shallow pit and covered in leaves and animal musk. They'll smell it, she whispered. Rodriguez nodded. And come looking. That was the idea. They weren't the only ones in this jungle. Movement at night, clicking languages, unfamiliar footprints. Other species. Other teams. But the difference? Humans hunted. The others just survived. 2 clicks east, Sergeant Nia finished the last of the signal traps, vines strung between trees, tied with hollow bark pods filled with pebbles. One misstep and the forest would sing. Motion left, she called into the comm unit, a salvaged speaker ripped from the alien drop module, rewired with copper strands and fungus membranes. Jury-rigged radio. Fragile, but enough. Back at the central fire, Lena heard it crackle. Left perimeter. Titan formation, she said. Let's see what the neighbors look like. They came at dusk. Not loud. Not in groups. A single scout, thin and insectal, its limbs jointed at odd angles, its torso half-metal. A fusion of organic and tech. Tucker whispered, Cyberkin hybrid. Myosian, maybe? Doesn't matter, Lena muttered. It bleeds. She waited. The alien stepped into the clearing, sniffing. Its eyes were jet-black orbs, its mandibles twitching. It reached toward the meat. A click. The ground caved beneath it. Then, snap. A weighted log swung down from above, impaling it clean through the thorax. The jungle swallowed the scream. Foley whistled low. That's 3 traps, 3 kills. Keep setting more, Lena said. We're not here to win by numbers. We win by message. Up above, the alien observers were anything but pleased. Krythal stood motionless as the footage replayed. The primitive spear trap. The coordination. The human female's command structure. Her strategy. Why is she speaking into that broken unit? One analyst asked. She rewired it, another answered. They're broadcasting something. To who? Krythal snapped. There are no receivers on Galix 9. A technician raised a hand. Actually, sir, she may have found the black box pod. Krythal's eyes twitched. That's classified tech. She's not using it to call for help. She's taunting us. They played the footage. Lena looked straight into the camera lens embedded in the pod's side. You watching? She said. Because I am. Then she smiled. Later that night, as stars blinked into the fall sky, Lena addressed her team over the fire. They're observing. Testing us. That's the whole point. You think this is a competition? Nia asked. Lena threw a chunk of meat into the flames. No. This is an extermination. Survival's the excuse. Rodriguez stirred the fire with a stick. Then why haven't they killed us already? They didn't expect us to last this long. Every other species probably plays by the same rules. Scavenging. Fleeing. But we do what we always have, we adapt fast and strike hard. She stood and faced them. Tomorrow, we stop surviving. We start escalating. By morning, the traps had doubled. Pits with sharpened stakes. Weighted nets strung from tree canopies. A decoy fire 2 clicks south to lure in other teams. Then came the birds. Sleek, bright-feathered creatures with long arms and cloaked figures. They moved like monks, carried bone staffs, and chanted. 2 approached the fake fire. 1 stepped on a thin vine. Thunk. A log smashed into its side. The other fled, right into Nia's pit. They didn't kill the second one. They tied it to a tree. Lena knelt before the captured avian, examining its feathers, its armor, the black band across its chest, a breathing regulator. You need this to survive? She asked. It hissed in its tongue, throat vibrating like wind through reeds. Tucker leaned in. Language database says they're called Volari. Ritualistic. Pacifist until provoked. Then they're in the wrong forest, Lena muttered. She reached out and yanked the band loose. The creature gasped, fluttered, then passed out. She dropped the band into the fire. We're not here to negotiate. High above, Krythal's advisors grew restless. They're baiting the other teams, one said. Using psychological warfare. They've killed 4 different species. They've weaponized our observation pods. Krythal's voice was low, dangerous. This was supposed to prove that artificial evolution prevails. He turned to a hologram of the council crest, inactive but recording. And now, the primitives are winning. With sharpened sticks and stolen parts. A chime rang. Sir, the technician said. They're building something with the uplink remains. What kind of structure? The image flickered. A broken pod, rigged with wires and solar scrap, was now blinking. It was sending out a pulse. A signal. Back in the jungle, Lena crouched beside the device. Broadcast strength? Tucker adjusted the salvaged lens. Low range. But if something flies overhead, it'll see us. Even the Zarkith won't be able to bury that signal. Lena wiped her forehead, streaked with dirt and blood. This isn't just about us anymore. This is about making sure someone knows. And far above, someone did. A deep space scavenger ship caught the pulse. And began turning around. Lena stood ankle-deep in the stream, scrubbing blood from her arms. The jungle fog swirled low across the water like smoke from a distant battlefield. Behind her, the fire flickered in the camp, shadows dancing across sharpened poles and traps set with surgical precision. Rodriguez approached from the trees. They're moving. 4 hostiles. Mechs. Full armor. East Ridge. She straightened, wiped her hands dry on her pants. Finally, she said. They're taking us seriously. An hour later, the clearing had changed. They'd dug in deep, an ambush circle marked by broken terrain, sight lines cut through the brush, escape paths pre-marked with bone arrows tied to vines. Every member of her team was positioned low, still, silent. Above them, Krythal watched from orbit. They've created a kill zone, one analyst said, voice tight. Krythal gritted his teeth. Send in the enforcers. Full authorization. They're humans, sir. You want to deploy A-class infantry on a primitive species? Krythal turned slowly. They're not primitive. They're a virus. The jungle fell still. Then came the buzz. A deep, metallic thrum rolled through the trees as 4 Zarkith enforcers stepped into the light. Each stood 3 meters tall, armored in obsidian plate, plasma lances glowing. Their heads swiveled, scanning, multi-lens optics humming. One of them lifted a hand. Whum! A burst of blue plasma incinerated a tree trunk. Foley whispered, "Showtime." A spear launched from the treetops, not at the soldier, but above it. The branch cracked. The trunk dropped like a hammer, slamming 2 mechs into the earth. Before they could recover, Tucker sprinted in with a spike club, smashing an exposed neck seam. Sparks. Screams. The third turned, raising its cannon, only to trigger a buried charge. Fire erupted. The jungle lit red. Lena lunged out from behind smoke, driving her blade, shaped from ship alloy, through the last mech's visor. Crunch. Then silence. Smoke and broken armor lay strewn among roots and leaves. Their fire roared behind them. Rodriguez wiped grime from his cheek. That was a rescue squad? No, Lena said. That was cleanup. Back in orbit, Krythal slammed a fist into the console. We're losing the feed. Pod 7 is offline. Pod 4 is transmitting corrupted data. An aide rushed forward. They've rigged the uplink. They're rebroadcasting your own surveillance footage, onto open channels. What? The screen blinked. Across the starfield, hundreds of stations tuned in. A human woman stared straight into the camera, face streaked with soot and blood. You wanted to watch us die, she said. Instead, you're watching your empire burn. On Galix 9, Lena adjusted the lens, now wired to a makeshift satellite reflector hoisted up the tallest tree. Her fingers bled. Her arms shook. Is it working? Nia asked. Tucker scanned the readout. Confirmed. Signals bouncing to a scavenger ship. They'll relay to any open band. Good, Lena said. Time to end the game. A shriek echoed from the valley. The jungle exploded. 3 Hunter-class predators barreled into the camp, massive, armored, quadrupedal nightmares released by Zarkith as a failsafe. No time, Rodriguez growled. They split. Lena sprinted between trees, leading one beast toward the decoy fire. She jumped a log, turned, and threw a torch into a pit. The trap ignited, napalm sap and phosphorus flare. The creature ran headlong into flame. Screeching. Thrashing. Silence. Nia and Foley worked together on the second, snaring it in a vine noose, then dropping a spike-covered net from above. It struggled, impaled. Crushed. The third cornered Tucker, until Lena slammed into its flank with a branch sharpened to a pike. The creature stumbled. Rodriguez fired the last harpoon, straight into its eye. Blood covered everything. Breathing hard, Lena collapsed beside the smoldering wreck of the predator. That's all of them? She asked. Tucker nodded. That was the last line. She looked up, blinking into the smoky canopy. Then it's our turn. In orbit, Krythal's bridge was chaos. Reports flooded in. Transmissions been seen by 12 systems. Unregistered freighters. Rogue satellites. 2 council probes. Krythal stared at the blinking red indicators. Shut it off. It's too late. They saw. On the screen, the feed continued. Humans defending fire. Fighting beasts. Turning alien weapons into survival tools. A voice echoed through the bridge. We weren't supposed to be part of your game. But we don't play by your rules. We write our own. Hours passed. The humans regrouped, wounded but alive. Around them, jungle predators kept their distance. Even nature seemed to respect them now. A deep, slow rumble grew louder overhead. They looked up. Streaks of silver cut across the false sky. Ships. Real ones. Fast. Armed. Tucker's eyes widened. That's not Zarkith. No, Lena whispered, standing. That's everyone else. The first landing craft touched down, hissing steam. Out stepped a scavenger captain, scaled, thin, eyes wide. He carried no weapon. He looked at Lena. Then knelt. "We received your signal." She nodded once. "Good. We have a lot to say." In orbit, Krythal watched the transmissions die out, each one overwritten by the same message. Humanity has arrived. And it never comes alone.